There's a sense of deep frustration that is growing on the left. I think many of those guys thought, listen, we might lose things at the midterms, but in the meantime, we've got the House, we've got the Senate, we've got the presidency. We're going to be able to ram through a whole bunch of stuff. And not only has all that failed, no Build Back Better, no second infrastructure bill, no successful attempt to overturn the filibuster, ideas of packing the court pretty much down in flames. And so then the left was like, well, okay, but at least we're going to be able to hold the line. And then, boom, the leak, the dismaying information for them that Roe versus Wade is going to go down. I mean, this is huge. The implications of this are far-reaching. We're talking about something that is overturning a decision that has sat as a kind of anchor of American cultural policy for, well, half a century. So this is the same significance as overturning segregation, which lasted a little more than half a century. And I think that the left realizes that not much is going to be, they can't stop this. They tried with the leak. Okay, we're hoping for a public outcry. Interestingly, there hasn't been that much of a public outcry. Yeah, there's going to be a bunch of people showing up at the court. And I'm going to talk about that, about their intimidation tactics. Part of the reason those people are so desperate is because they can't even fix this problem legislatively. So here I see that, there's Chuck Schumer. I'm going to bring it to the floor. I'm going to try to have a federal law banning abortion. And in fact, they're going to go toward a vote sometime in the next couple of days. But you know what? It's going to fail. Why? Because they can't get it to pass without overriding the filibuster. And already, Manchin and Sinema have both come out, even in the context of Roe v. Wade, even in the context of the Supreme Court's Dobbs decision that is forthcoming, and they've said, no, we're not voting to overturn the filibuster. So the only way to get rid of the 60-vote hurdle and try to pass this federal abortion law with a 51-49 or a 50-50 tie with Kamala Harris breaking the only way they can even do that is has turned out to be a no-go, and they know it. So what's their next move? Well, the next move is to start threatening the court and threatening the justices. Now, they can't threaten the court because kind of in anticipation of the crazy behavior, the expected craziness of the left, the party of, BLM and Antifa, they've put big barricades around the Supreme Court. You can't get in. So what do the leftists do? They're now showing up at the homes of Kavanaugh, Alito, Roberts, Gorsuch. And interestingly, the Biden administration is not taking a firm line on this. At one point, I believe they moved Alito out of his house as a kind of precautionary measure. But there's a problem here. In fact, what they're doing is illegal. You cannot picket or parade at any judge's residence with the intent of influencing a jurist in the discharge of his duty. 18 U.S. Code 1507 very clearly says that even if you aren't setting something on fire or physically attacking a judge, this is unlawful behavior. Once again, we see this double standard where I see Jen Psaki and others basically saying, well, peaceful protest has a long tradition in America. So even though January 6 guys are being peaceful January 6 guys who didn't do anything violent, didn't get into even a verbal confrontation with the cops, nevertheless, they're being heavily prosecuted for what? Being in the wrong place. You shouldn't be in a public unauthorized parading in a public building. Well, that's peaceful. And nevertheless, we find those guys are being the targets of kind of a massive FBI and a massive DOJ operation. But that is evidently not occurring here. Now, where you do see real violence, here's the New York Times. The headquarters of an anti-abortion group in Madison, Wisconsin was set on fire. Now, I want to point out something interesting here about the media. And that is that when the left does it, it's always in the passive voice. It's not leftists burned the building. It's the building was set on fire. Raising the question, by whom? Who would do that? In an act of vandalism, again, by whom? That included the attempted use of a Molotov cocktail and graffiti that read, if abortions aren't safe, then you aren't either. So the perpetrators are implied, but you notice they're not stated. On the other hand, if it was occurring on the other side, white supremacist burns building. So this is the way in which these artful dodgers, these sly prevaricators, constantly twist and distort the news. That's not the only case, by the way. The one in Madison, here I see on lifenews.com, abortion activists have vandalized. See, notice here the active voice. This is how it should be, because it's stating the who, the what, the when, the where, and the why. Abortion activists have vandalized another pro-life pregnancy center, this time in Denton, Texas. So the left here, you can see how important this issue is for them. In fact, Debbie was saying the other day, she's like, I think even 2,000 Mules is related to Roe v. Wade in the sense that the reason that they deploy the mules is to protect Roe v. Wade. Roe v. Wade is their sacramental icon. That's the thing that they care about the most.